The most insidious thing about trauma is how quickly and subtly it calcifies. And you don't typically realize it until you're on the other end of the traumatic event. And by that, I mean when your mind is being assaulted with information that is so outside of the norm and so detrimental to your internal coherence. It initially tries to make sense of it, but if that trigger is sustained over any significant amount of time, the mind stops trying to make sense of it and it starts calcifying it. It reworks itself around the trigger and it strips away anything else. It's a complete rewiring of how you relate emotionally, socially, neural system level wide. It literally rewires all of you at the molecular level. And while you're still in the, I'll call it trauma container, you might not realize it. You might realize something has changed, but you don't realize the the true detrimental effect of that traumatic event until you have distance from it. That's very much what it was like for me during my time at Fair and Just Prosecution. I recognized that there were traumatic events happening. I didn't truly understand the impact on my entire brain until I was not in FJP. And when I did realize it, it came crashing down on me because it wasn't just one event, it was 50 of them, 50 plus of them, but also tied to one structural truth, which I've spoken about in some of the articles that I've posted. I'm not going to rehash it. But for the purpose of this video and me explaining how my trauma brain works, it's this one big recursive loop trying to both figure out every little traumatic thing that has happened, but also wanting the closure of being able to just point to one thing because one thing is easier than all of the little things. But the reality is, it's both. It's the little things that all add up to one thing. But the point of this video is to explain why I've gone public and why I'm doing it in more of a stream of conscious manner and not a strategic one, particularly being a lawyer. And the reason for that, it's simple. The reason it's simple, but it it's built on things that are not simple. So the simple reason is I want out of this trauma architecture. I got out of FJP, but I'm still running its maladaptive trauma architecture in my mind. It's trauma operating system, if you will. And the only way for my system to get out is to do the thing that feels so unnatural, but at the same time feels like me. And that's the talk. And in my healthy, non trauma coded brain, I can talk and I can be strategic. That's what lawyers do. We tell the truth, but we frame it. I'm telling the truth now, but I'm not framing it. I'm not timing it. And again, the reason is because the line between strategy and survival has become so blurred for me because everything I do feels like it's either in service of survival or a threat to survival. And every time I get on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever, and I talk about the experience, it feels like a threat. And the thing that makes it so hard to untangle is that feeling is both accurate and inaccurate. It's accurate because there is a certain cadence to posting on a professional network that you are supposed to, or you should, or it's advisable to adhere to get certain outcomes. And clearly, I'm unemployed right now. I need an employer to look at me and say, this is someone they want on their team. And if they're looking at me and I'm seeming unpredictable, they're going to get a signal and it's going to make it harder for me to find employment. And I'm cognizant of that. But it's also irrational because I'm not just thinking of it that way. That's how I'm cognitively thinking of it. But my nervous system is clocking it as gun to the head that anything I say or anything I do that's slightly off trajectory is going to mean death, and not a physical death, but a death to the internal coherence, which is trauma coded right now. So if I try to sit in my own head and figure out how can I get back to the strategic version of me that also was able to tell the truth, I'm just going to be in a cognitive trauma loop. I'm not going to do anything and I'm just going to stay there. And I'll, in that situation, get a new job and I'll do well at that job, but I will be doing it through a trauma coded lens, meaning my strategic ability would be behind a firewall. So, yeah, it would still fire. I'd still make good decisions, but it wouldn't be that quick version of me that I'm known for. It wouldn't be the fierce, fireproof version of me. It would be a very muted, dull, hesitant version. Now, of course, this version that I'm displaying right now, the one who's saying what they want, how they want it with no polish or strategy, is not sustainable. And I recognize that and I will rein it in. But it is the version of me that needs to exist right now for me to have the option, the ability to reach and pull the old version of me back. So yeah, it's messy and it is chaotic, but it is for the purpose of literally retraining my nervous system to recognize that doors can close, bridges can burn, people can look at me and think something, and I can misstep. I can do things that aren't strategic and I can survive them. And they will ultimately not matter in the long term arc of my life. So, what you're seeing right now, as uncomfortable as it might be, is me externalizing my trauma processing. And, if last thing I ever want to do is trigger anyone. So, I highly suggest that if it is triggering, that you look away, you disconnect, you block whatever you need to do. But if you're looking at it in curiosity and you're questioning, I don't have all the answers right now. I am literally mid-process, but I can tell you that the me that emerges from the other side, or on the other side rather, is going to be much better than the me of right now, and certainly much better than the me of a month ago. And I suspect it's my hypothesis that she's going to be better than even the old version of me, even the version of me before FJP. But we'll see.